button hit.
But we're going to curse.
Cool. Yeah, we are. Yep, I see that you were recording.
Because the point is to get mad at computers, and that means...
That's the whole point of this. I'm already mad at this computer. I did extra. All right.
You pre-gamed.
Pre-gamed with rage. Those of you who are finding this on YouTube later, this is Avdi and Jessitron. They're going to help me figure out.
Wow.
They're going to help me.
He also pre-gamed with rage, but that was in the context of D&D.
Oh, well, you know, the context is irrelevant as long as the emotion is there. Oh, man. So I spent last week in this course. So there's this guy here in Chicago. His name is Dave Beasley, and he teaches these week-long full-time programming courses. And I took one last week on how to implement the Raft. It was about the implementing of the Raft algorithm, which I had only vaguely heard of before this course. And then we were talking through the details of how to implement it. It's a distributed consensus algorithm. And so I've got some code here, and it is, let's say, an ongoing project for me. I do not have the Raft algorithm working, but what I do have, I can show you, is 2 servers. So the idea is that you have a bunch of servers running, and if some of them go down, that's okay, because the other ones can continue to accept commands from clients and then modify some data, let's say a key value store, such that when the other servers come back up, the servers that are already up can then communicate to the servers that just came up new information about what should be in the data store, such that they can get up to date and can be eligible to also deliver this information to clients. So that's what theoretically would happen. What I have is that I can start 2 servers, and one of them has some data, and then I can start a client, and I can use the client to interact with either of the servers, and I can use the client to tell the server to modify the data. And when I send a command from the client to one of the servers telling it that it is the leader, it can then get the other server up to date.
So the servers are talking to each other.
They are talking to each other. Well, theoretically, they're talking to each other. We will find out if that is the case here in a second.
What are they talking to each other over?
Beg your pardon?
TCP/IP?
Yes, TCP/IP.
Okay.
So we will get rid of all these logs, and then I will try to show you that. So this is my first server. Everyone else in the class named their servers like integers. Oh. And I had to give mine names.
Integers is hard to keep track. It's hard to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it easy. And I don't know. I find that amusing myself with crap like that is...
Oh, yeah, it keeps you engaged.
Oh, here we go. But my mom, when I was little, my mom uses the phrase every Tom, Dick, and Harry to refer to like everyone.
Sure, yeah.
And so my servers' names are Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Cool. Perfect. Yeah.
All right, so I've got Tom and Dick running. And now that I've said this works, it's not going to, I'm sure. So what you do, this is Kludgy, but you put in like the name of the server or client that it's communicating with, and so we can set values on the server like that.
Okay.
And then this will show us the entirety of the data set that it has. So it has this we call it a dictionary in Python with a key of A and a value of 1. And we can do, we can set a bunch of them.
Hey, Chelsea.
Yes.
Can everything be bigger?
Absolutely. Let me see if I can make it bigger.
A wee little monitor here.
Is that big enough on the client right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see. Thanks.
Rock on. And then I'll make this bigger.
Bigger.
Cool. What is your problem? What is happening?
She said, "Can you make dick bigger?"
I probably could. I've never tried. How hard could it be?
It does help when it is.
And this channel is no longer for kids.
I told you.
You know what? I like it better this way, honestly.
It's better.
What was it Luke Skywalker said? This is not going to go the way you think.
I'm cool with that. All right, so now
Okay.
we have some stuff in here, and
All right, so
now we're
this-
gonna nominate we'll nominate Tom the leader, and we'll see if Tom can get Dick up to date.
Okay.
I'm a little curious why the client nominates the leader.
The reason that the client nominates the leader is that in Raft, we're supposed to implement this whole election process where the servers elect a leader.
Oh, okay. So this is
But
like-
I just haven't gotten to that part yet.
That makes sense. So this is separating the working as a distributed system with a leader from leader election, which is its own darn problem.
Yes,
Okay,
exactly.
good reason.
All right. So when I hit this button, we'll see if everything works. So here's one thing that is definitely
happens.
wrong, but I've just been living with, is that even when it works, I end up with this exception,
Okay.
which I can show you where that's happening in the code. But the point is that if I sound like I've had a lot to drink, I've had nothing to drink. I just sound like this.
We'll make up for that.
We will.
So let's do this. And then what port did I put?
1002 or 10,002.
Thank you. 1. All right. And so now if I do this, yeah, see, Dick got all the stuff.
Good. So these, I mean, A, B, and C represent atoms that clients shouldn't be able to set them differently, even if they're talking to different servers.
Correct. So now if I were to do, let's say,
Set A4 or something.
now,
But does the other client get that? No, because he didn't send it to the leader and they're not talking to each other at the moment because.
no, yeah, they only do the catch-up thing when I nominate one the leader.
Okay.
But now if I come up here,
So when Tom is told he's the leader, he doesn't remember that information.
no, he doesn't. Tom is,
Okay.
yeah.
So everybody thinks they're alone until they're told they're the leader.
Uh-huh,
And then they go run around giving the other ones orders.
exactly.
And then they forget.
Yes,
Okay,
Okay.
got it.
that's how it works right now.
All right.
So ultimately, hope that will not be the case.
Right. Ultimately, there'd be some state of am I the leader or not?
Exactly.
But right now, it's like, you're the leader. Oh, be the leader. Okay.
Right, and then it gets done being the leader and goes
And
to
it's
bed.
done.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's very we would not say these servers are passionate about their jobs. Tom, Dick, and Harry are punching in and then they're punching out. That's
Yeah, they're
it.
busy remembering things, but they're not going to be the leader until you tell them they are.
They're not sure. They will accept orders, but they're not going to take any initiative or anything.
Yeah. D is 4. All right. Got it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You're the
yeah.
leader. Oh, right. By the way, everybody, D is 4.
That's exactly how it works.
Got it.
So, and when there's 2 of them, it works great.
Okay.
When you
Except
get
for-
every Tom, Dick, and
No,
Harry
yeah.
involved, it gets
It's the local variable response.
yeah. So this much, I'm not shocked that it worked, but I'm glad that this demo worked, and there was not a 100% probability that this demo was going to work.
Not only did it work, but it even not worked in the way that it was expected to not work.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
right.
Exceptions. So that was good.
That's true. That's true.
No demo surprise.
This code, I have like a Stockholm syndrome with this code at this point, or something. So the thing that is interesting, and the thing that I figured we'd work on, although if you'd like to work on something else, we certainly can, is, so if I were to fire up,
Now there's 4.
there are 4, and generally I do it with 5, although I don't think that the problem is the having of 5. But, and this is not the most efficient workflow for sure, but so the way that, well, I'll show you that in a second. So the way that these servers maintain state is that they have these log files, and these log files record any write to their little data store. So if they go down and they come back up, they have some logs to get them up to date. And if a leader contacts them, the way that that interaction goes, there are a couple of steps to that interaction. So you've got your leader, and I could show you this in the logs. It's a little bit tough. Maybe I can actually show you this in the logs. So it'll be, if this is unclear, I'll draw a picture or something. But so the way the interaction goes is, so the client receives, so in this case, Tom receives this missive that Tom is the leader.
Okay.
And so what the leader then does is they go to what's called a server registry, which is a file where all the servers register themselves when they come up. And it goes to the registry and it gets the addresses of all of the other servers that have registered. And in this case right now, it's just the one on port 1002.
And there's maybe one in the registry file on 10,000 that isn't actually there.
Yeah, that isn't there because we didn't bring it up, but I must have started a server on port 10,000 and then not cleared the server registry before I ran everything. But yeah, so it connects to Dick and it asks Dick the length of the logs.
So they have an assumption of all having started at the same time.
They have an assumption of at least being up for right now. So for example, Tom will attempt to connect to this server and will attempt to connect to this server. And this one doesn't work because that server is not up.
That's fine.
But,
and it's got to be able to handle that because the whole point is servers can go down.
Right, exactly. And so at this point, like, Tom doesn't really do anything with this information. Tom just keeps going with any of the other servers. So Tom asks Dick for his log length. And then,
like, where are you in time? What's the last thing you know about?
Right. So ultimately, a more sophisticated version of this will go not off of length, but rather off of the term numbers. And so the way that Raft, I guess, works is that each time a new leader is elected, the term increments up. And so right now, each of the logs already contains a term number.
It's just
but it just doesn't increment right now. It's just set to 0. Okay. So the way that my strategy here, it's a very naive strategy. Currently, we assume that only one server is accepting writes at any given time. And we assume that, like, if one's log is longer than the other one's log, then whatever the difference is the stuff that it needs to catch up on. So it's not accounting yet.
So we're not handling network partitions.
Yes, exactly.
Network partition would be this client sent to Tom, D is 4. This client sent to Dick, D is 5.
Exactly.
They both have the same log length.
Right.
And right now they wouldn't update anything.
Right. That would be effectively 2 parallel terms.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But so now we're depending on just one client writing at a time.
Exactly. So we depend on one client writing at a time. Ultimately, the way it would work is that whoever's nominated the leader checks the other one's logs for this term number, and any, like, it goes, the most up-to-date logs are the ones with the latest term number, and if the term numbers are the same in two sets of logs, then it goes off of whichever one's longer. So
Okay.
it'll ultimately be different from this. But I didn't really understand how that worked when I started reading the paper. And so I thought, well, it would be much more efficient to go just straight off of log length. And at that time, maybe that would have worked because I don't have any network partitions happening on this machine. But then I did another thing wrong, which is that at the time, I wasn't just putting writes into the log, I was putting any command into the log.
Oh, so you're the leader was increasing the log length.
You're the leader was increasing the log length, get, show, all of that was increasing the log length. And so I would start up Tom and I would set some stuff on Tom, maybe A, B, and C. And then I would start up Dick. And in order to ensure that Dick didn't already have the information, I would do get A, get B, get C. Boom.
And that would convince the other one that, oh, you already know about these three sets.
Exactly. And so, yeah, and Tom I was looking, I was like, why isn't it working? And Tom was sending a message to Dick, your guess is as good as mine, which is what it says if the log lengths are the same.
Nice.
Fabulous.
Which was maybe the second funniest interaction I have seen between the servers, with the funniest interaction having been that my default message, so I don't really do that much handling of like invalid request formats. If it's not a request format that is recognized by the parser, right now the server just sends back a message, sorry, I don't understand that command.
Okay.
So I started up, this was the first time I started two servers talking to each other. One of the commands that I had not programmed the parser to understand was, sorry, I don't understand that command. So they're going and going and going and going, and I stop them both. And I look, and they're just like, sorry, I don't understand that command.
What?
What? Exactly. Oh my gosh. It was, this has been, finding all of the things that are wrong has been super fun on this project.
Cool.
So, but at any rate, the way it works now is Tom asks Dick for the log length. Dick sends back log length 0. And so then what Tom does is sends back any logs that Tom has between index 0 and however long Tom's logs are, which in this case is all of them. So sends this command, catch up logs to, and then all the logs that need to be caught up. And then
so as a single message, not as multiple commands.
Correct, as a single message.
Yeah, I'm amused by the mistake of writing everything to the log, including gets, because that's an indication of overuse of the word log.
Yeah.
Because log means, like, record what happened. Spit out diagnostic information. Whereas here, this is a technical term. It's actually meaning a database log, meaning the linearized sequence of events that represent that you can add up to get the current state of the database.
Yeah.
Like a Postgres.
Another term
log.
for that thing is journal.
Okay, yeah, journal. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Does Postgres call it a journal? Because I know it has one.
Yeah, a lot of file systems call it a journal too.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yes, this is the thing. The thing that is called log here is the thing that I would call a journal.
All right. That's awesome. I didn't know that. Huh. Thank you. That's so cool. But so maybe that would make sense to rename all this log stuff to journal at some point.
Yeah, if you had that term to begin with, you wouldn't have write your gets to there. You would have written your gets to a log.
Yeah.
And not to the journal.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So that's a terminology fail.
Yeah.
In your class.
In the class. Not in you.
So I recently read this book called Philosophy of Software Design. It's by John, Ousterhout?
Ousterhout, Oosterhout.
Yeah. And
Is he the tickle? Is he the tickle Oosterhout, or is he a different Oosterhout?
I think it's the same one.
Sweet.
And very prolific. The tickle one is the same as the philosophy of software design, is the same one as the Raft one.
Oh, okay.
wow.
All right.
Yeah. It's very impressive. He also has an academic website which has a page of his favorite quotes.
Oh, goody.
Nice.
And so that's awesome. He has a favorite quotes page, which lends a little personality to him that I wouldn't have otherwise seen. But anyway, part of the book is about naming variables and comments and that kind of thing. And he says the hardest bug that he ever had to solve, he spent a long time chasing it down, and what it ended up being was that the term block was used to mean two different things in the code. And he kept kind of skimming over the code where it was used because he reflexively assumed that it was referring to one thing, when in fact in this particular scope it was referring to a different thing.
Ouch.
And so he said that, and I'd been thinking about it for a little while, because another thing that I've sort of anecdotally observed is that the longer I spend trying to chase down a bug, the higher the probability becomes that when I find it, it ends up being a one-line fix.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to think that that was some sort of cognitive bias, the same way that you think it only rains when you didn't pack an umbrella or whatever. But now I think there's a reason for it. And I think the reason is that the most insidious bugs hide in these assumptions that we've made that don't happen to be inaccurate. The reason they can hide there is because we're looking in the code for some issue, when the issue in fact lives in our own not understanding what's supposed to be happening.
Yeah. A bug is a discrepancy between our mental model and the code's model.
Right. And naming,
Reality.
even naming like one thing can have so much to do with that. And even like in a situation where everything else is pretty clearly named, it becomes riskier to have one thing that's poorly named, because the other good names loan so much credibility.
Yeah.
One name.
I'm a big fan of stupid names. Like if
what?
you don't have time or context or the perspective you need to name something really well, name it Carrot or Banana or Harry. Then at least people won't like be deceived by thinking the name is correct.
They won't read semantics into it.
That's true. I hadn't thought of that. I have on occasion, one of the techniques that I use to figure out how code works that I don't understand, that I've been made responsible for, is to go through and try to rename variables to things that are clear to me.
Yeah.
And as I'm figuring out, if I don't know yet, I'll rename it to like, no idea what this is. Or something. And then I can come back to it and remember, oh, I had no idea what that is. Now I do. Let me go put in a better name.
Cool.
But I do like that idea of giving things like essentially contextless nonsense names, kind of.
Right. Just like call it. And then somebody is going to say something in the code review. But by the time you're in the code review, you probably actually know how to name it.
Yeah, that's true. At least we can hope.
Yeah.
One can
You
hope.
can ask them, well, what do you think the name should be?
That's a good idea. See if they can sort of determine from the context how they would name it.
Yeah, that's true, because then you get someone else's perspective in the naming, which is a win.
Yeah.
I loved your code review post. That was great.
Oh, thank you. I've been thinking about that one for a while, because I had a feeling a lot of people were going to be, I don't know. It was going to refer to behaviors that a lot of us have, myself included, have done. So
Yeah, but it's one of those things that I was like, oh yeah, no wonder I hate code reviews, because this is what people do, and this is what I do, and I hate doing them because I feel like they're supposed to be fast.
Right, fast.
And that just feels terrible. Yeah, so now I'm like, okay, no, next time I do a code review, I'm just gonna take friggin' forever and actually get my head into the code and then maybe do some real good. And then it won't feel like a waste of time. It'll be a lot more time, but it won't be wasted. And it won't be like, I don't want to make judgments on people's code.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's hard on the giving end.
It doesn't work. That's a different thing. I hate it when people are like, well, there's no test for this case. And I'm like, write it yourself then. If you care that much.
Good catch. What would you? I run into that sometimes with this doesn't happen super often, but enough people read the blog now that occasionally I'll get comments or whatever on a post that the comment is essentially, you should have written about this other thing instead of this. And it used to really upset me, and now I reply, that sounds like an amazing idea. I would love to see you write that post.
Yep, that is the correct response to those.
No kidding.
You know?
Yeah, blog posts attract the dumbest comments.
Yeah, I should probably.
I probably shouldn't have said that, but
no, they do. I just have comments off because I don't want to look at them. I'm so not a community manager. I'm like, oh, somebody did something.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing.
I want to like encourage that, but it
can be hard because like
I can't do it in a timely manner.
Yeah, at some point I don't know.
Yeah, as it is, if people like reply to my newsletter, I answer them. That's much better.
Well, that's nice.
Anyway, right. So you were gonna start up Harry, and maybe
I was gonna start up every Tom, Dick, and Harry here and show you what happens.
Yeah.
So who do we already have? We have a couple of them. We have Tom and we have Dick. So we have to start
that
up.
exception, which I am itching to look at, but you wanted to show something else. I need to.
We can totally look at that. 10,000.
You have a tiny bit left there. I'm curious what that takes.
Not really, no. But there's lots more of these, so we're gonna get another one.
Oh, is there something wrong with it? Never mind. Okay.
No, the drugs are never as good. Don't judge it by the drugs.
Don't judge it. I see. Yeah.
That's all like form.
To be clear, I don't think that the kinds of comments you were just talking about are bad. But I agree the framing of you should have written about this instead is not useful.
I think
it's good in it, so fuck that.
Sometimes I genuinely would love to see that post. It just doesn't happen to be the one that I wrote, you know?
Right. And people do need to write the ones that they feel should be out there. And it is great to encourage them because those people may not have thought of writing it themselves.
There is generally, I found that there's a large set of comments that boil down to, this was not the blog post that I went into it wanting to read.
Why
and
are
now
we
I'm
not using the whole screen out of curiosity?
Now I'm mad at you for not.
Do we need this Django REST framework over there?
No, we don't need it. But I didn't know if you could see. Can you see?
Yep.
Oh, that's right. You don't see the Zoom stuff.
Right.
Okay. So that should be fine. I know pretty much what the client does, so I don't need to see like this square.
Oh, yeah, and you can move our faces if you need to, or shrink them up temporarily.
Oh, yeah, there's some different
wherever I need them.
Yeah, if you point at the faces, then a bar appears above them, and you can like click shrinky. I
could stick you right in the middle.
Or move them around, yeah.
Yeah, you can even.
Oh wait, that was good.
Even like minimize our faces if it's helpful.
I move them to the other monitor.
Stay horizontal. All right, that's actually going to work, I think.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, okay. So now we're still connected to Tom and Dick, right?
Yep, and now we've also got every and Harry. So it's every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Nice.
And we can check the server registry to ensure that that's true.
Hey,
look at them all.
Is the word leader in that one file going to mess it up?
Is what?
In dick log, is line 9 going to mess it up?
That's a good catch. That would totally have ruined everything.
Did the blank lines matter?
They don't. It ignores the blank lines. Okay. I learned real fast that needed to be the case.
Yeah, if you can't see them, it shouldn't see them either.
Yeah. So here's what we'll do. We'll have Tom be the leader. again. And we'll make
Good
sure.
night,
everybody
Mr.
else-
Michael.
Good night,
Good night. Who are we saying good night to?
Mr. Michael.
Yeah. Like our family friend.
Sounds good.
He came over to play games.
Lovely. Okay, so here's our situation. This is Tom's log, and everybody else's log is empty.
Right. So when you tell Tom he's the leader. Now did you delete Dick log
I did.
while it was open? Is Dick gonna read his log every time?
He is.
Okay, so he's not storing that in memory.
He is not storing that in memory.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
No. All right. So here we go. We're gonna see what happens here. Now, what I'm about to do, a different thing happens every time I do this.
Oh, that's
Sweet.
fun.
It every time the situation's a little different. So let's see how it goes. All right. Some stuff happened.
Wait. Okay. You were messaging. Who are you messaging?
I messaged Tom.
Is
and
this
told
Tom down here in
that
number
Tom is
4? I'm guessing Tom's down here in number 4 just because that's the one with the unbound local variable response. How can we tell which one is which?
Good question. This
That's on
is,
2003. That's not Tom.
That's not Tom. Tom should
And.
be this one because I don't have them in the correct order.
What is?
Oh, I do have them in the correct order.
What did Tom say at the bottom?
Tom says
Bunch of things.
Is it possible to rename these windows, these frames?
Wait, did Tom just tell And that was his? It's hard to say.
Well, we can look at the logs to
2002
figure
was
out.
Dick last time, so I can't see the last number there.
What are you looking at? Oh, here. Let me see if I can make my window a little more.
Ooh, that's
Why
better.
is this happening? Holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, we can fix this. This is a thing that can be fixed.
Mhm.
Okay, there we go. So I'm going to do this.
Oh, yeah. I
And
used
then
to
I'm
install Spectacle, and then that makes hotkeys to make the windows do things right.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
all
not good with
inside of
PyCharm
iTerm.
hotkeys. I would love to learn.
No, I mean on Mac. Like, because you want this iTerm window to fill the screen,
Yeah.
but
Oh, yeah.
the button does stupid shit.
Oh, right. The green button is dumb on the Mac.
Right.
Yeah.
So I use Spectacle, and then like Command-Alt-F will fill the screen. And then you can have it the half or the left half or the bottom half.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll write that down. Spectacle, you said it's called?
Yeah, I think I paid $10 for it or something, but it was very worth it.
I mean, I could probably scrape up $10. Well, you Patreon subscribers, this is what your money goes to. It's not actually lattes, it's real things. Sometimes also lattes. So I had an idea. Avdi, I told you about this idea. I want to bring a dry erase marker to the cafe with me and put like the handle of a Patreon subscriber on the mug when I buy lattes.
Aww.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's so cute.
Love it.
But you're not yet, so I'm not going to go down and get beer until we're both out of beer, which is why I'm
Okay.
drinking your beer.
This is fine.
In part, I think it would be fun, and in part, I'm curious as to how many times I could get away with it before the cafe made me stop.
You have to like tweet a photo of it, of course.
Yeah. Or maybe they would like the publicity. I don't know what would happen. That's why we do experiments.
If it's a paper cup, they definitely.
Okay, so what happened this time?
So here's how I check that. I look at the logs.
Go to the logs, yeah.
So Tom is in charge, right?
Right.
And it looks like every did not replicate correctly.
Okay.
Neither did Dick. And nobody got anything? That's unusual. Usually what happens is like 2 of them replicate correctly, 1 of them doesn't replicate, and 1 of them has like the log twice.
Yeah.
Or something.
Okay. All right.
This is unusual. This is unusually bad. So let's see what happened here. It looks like, should we zoom in on one of these? So this one was in charge.
Tom.
This one was not.
Those exceptions just scream to me, I'm doing something wrong with sockets and I don't understand what's going on.
Oh, I'm sure I'm doing something wrong with sockets.
Don't.
Would you
And-
like to see the socket code?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want that response variable not.
Yeah, I would like that. That's my first place that I want to go is just like figure out what's causing those, because those could easily cause a weird cascade.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if that's like crashing something, then we don't know what else is going to happen. Okay, definitely line 36 has an issue.
Okay.
But it's telling you that.
Right. My assumption.
Okay,
so
wait,
here's
what is that? No, F. Is that just a format string?
It is.
Why do you have red underlined things? How?
Because my editor, so when I first started this project, it was in this editor, which is, it's like set to it's set to provide guidance for Python 2.7 code, right? Or it was set.
Are you moving it to Python 3?
And this is Python 3.8, I believe.
Okay.
Or 3.7. And then I changed the interpreter in preferences to be one of the Python 3 ones. But I think I have to I don't know. Actually, no, I did restart the editor and it didn't index to fix this.
Stupid thing.
That's another thing that I'm.
There might be something in the yeah, there's something in the project state. Okay, so here's my working assumption just from the get-go is that the IO errors in other the IO errors that I'm seeing in some processes are the consequence of the response, not the variable, not variable used, not uninitialized variable being used in one of the processes. I would normally trace the causality in that direction, because what I would assume is happening is that once you have the exception because of the variable not, or the uninitialized variable being used, that causes a connection to be unexpectedly killed. So that's the causality that I would go into it
to start with,
assuming.
Right. And so we would want to clean that up first.
So
because what else would that clean up? Also, it's the simplest case. It happens with 2.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be looking at the IO errors first.
Line 46 in parsing.py.
Yep, let's see. And this is the file that I told you about before, so.
Oh, yeah, it's not refactored. This is fine.
Okay, so here we have.
Okay.
Oh, if send pending response, something else responds.
Can we fit this?
Well, in that caught up thanks, send pending is false. There's no response initialized on line 40.
Will the whole thing fit on one screen?
Will the whole thing fit on one screen?
Can we fit all of this function on a screen?
I think so. Hold on.
Yeah.
Almost.
Wait. Jess, is that
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so almost. So yeah, response is initialized usually, but not in the case 34 through 40, and maybe not the other ones. I mean, if string operation in caught up thanks, sorry, I don't understand. So that's like the stop case, right?
Sorry, what are you looking at?
Line 34.
Line 34. So
That
this
says,
if there's like any message from another server that it's not supposed to respond to, then I set send pending to false. And if send pending is false, then we don't add a return address.
But you also never initialize response.
Well, look at line 45 though. Oh yeah. If send pending is false, you never
initialize response.
Well, response is initial. Oh yeah, we don't initialize response here. You mean?
Can you initialize response to like an empty
string at the beginning of the function?
I sure could. Let's see. Like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does anything do does the whatever is calling this, what does it do with the response?
So what it will do, the server calls this method. I can show you. In fact, we can even do this. I can find it. Okay.
Nice.
So in our server code, in the server's method called handle client, it's going to call that. And then that response is one of the two things that it gets back, which it then sends
Right.
to wherever the destination is.
My belief here is that the exception from the response not being set is blowing this up before it's able to send.
So
Closing.
Yeah. It's well, no. Entertainingly, it's when you don't have a response to send to the client that it's blowing up, because now that we're putting something in there, okay, so we either want to send the message to the client,
but I mean when it's,
or we do this self.tell thing.
When we were hitting that case before, it was just blowing. I mean, it was blowing the whole stack.
Right.
Until it got to a finally or something.
Right.
Yeah, because the finally closes the connection. So it would have skipped down to the finally.
Oh, okay.
And it would have closed the connection. That might have been an unexpected close, and there you get the IO error.
And
maybe on the other side.
So there was an operation. We decide on the respond, but if there is no response, presumably we're missing the self.tell.
No, it's not that there was no response. It's that once.
Yeah, I know.
Like it actually blew up.
I'm trying to do two things here, which is what did we miss because of the exception, and what are we going to do now when the response is the empty string?
Right.
Is that the right thing?
Okay, fair. I want to see what happens.
Yeah. Let's just try it. Just like with 2.
Yep, just 2. Okay, let's do that. So what I'm going to do is
kill and every Harry.
Yeah, sounds good.
And every and Harry. Every and Harry.
I'll go.
And is a tricky
every
name.
Harry and.
Just Tom and Dick. All right. So let's make sure that's who we have here. Yeah, Tom, Dick. Perfect. And actually, we need to restart these.
Yeah, I'm definitely tempted to restart them. It's fine that Tom has a longer log than Dick. That's fine.
Yeah.
Dick doesn't have a log at the moment.
That's fine. We don't mind that. All right. So we come in here.
Tell Tom he's a leader and see what happens. Bad file descriptor. That's different.
That is different.
See, it sent the B empty. It sent the empty string.
Yeah.
Which we put in the response. Which apparently angers.
That's not the first thing it sent, though. So let's see what it did.
Okay, yeah. It looked for and every Harry, and that's fine. And then it sent
log length.
Yep.
And it got log length 0.
Yeah, log length.
And so it sent back all this stuff.
Which is right. And then we got a new exception.
Ooh.
And something exciting happened. In message.
The other side closed. Okay, so now Tom is not closing the connection. Dick is closing the connection. It was the other way around. Okay, so we've moved on to the next exception, hopefully. Received, caught up. The other side closed this connection. Waiting for a connection. And then we got something from Dick. That's kind of out of order.
Right? That's weird because it didn't have anybody else connected to it to close. And this would theoretically have told us that it shouldn't be talking to Dick anymore, but then it gets this response.
Well, okay. Weird possibility. That exception went to standard error, Those other messages went to standard out.
Which would screw, which could
Sometimes
could screw up
standard
the
error is
order.
faster than standard out.
Right. Standard error is usually not is usually auto flushed, whereas standard out is buffered.
So
What does that mean?
Okay. So you know, your processes have a standard error and a standard out, right?
Yep.
Two file descriptors.
Two file, right? They can write
both of which get pumped to the screen here.
Yeah, both of which by default get dumped to the screen. But typically, standard out is a buffered file descriptor, which means, you know, for performance, you can write a bunch of stuff to it and it'll eventually get around to dumping to the screen. Standard error is unbuffered. It's synced. Sync equals on is the like the Unix flag. Sync equals true, whatever. Anyway, so it's synced because you want to see errors immediately. The result of this is that when you have mixed streams writing to your terminal, sometimes you'll see output out of order because basically the standard error output, which generally an exception traceback goes to standard error, that gets prioritized over the standard out. So you'll see something, you'll see some stuff come out after the exception traceback that actually happened before it.
So it could be that caught up thanks is, I think caught up thanks is the one that it's getting angry about, because my theory is Tom receives caught up thanks, sends an empty response because we initialized it to empty. And then somehow that angers Dick. Dick doesn't know how to handle an empty response.
And now
the exception comes out in the wrong order.
We can't hear you.
Why does B?
You hear me now?
Yes.
Except, why does it say connecting to localhost port 10,002 and sending empty string then? I don't understand that being at the end.
So the way that it's set up right now is that it doesn't maintain. So the server maintains two sockets. It's listening on one.
Or for any.
Well, it doesn't maintain two sockets. It maintains one socket, and then when it wants to send a message, it connects to the other server with a socket that it then closes.
Okay, it's not holding connections open. That's fine. That's
right. Exactly.
Well, actually, this implies the part that it connected again. Did it connect again in order to send the empty string?
It did. That's what it did.
Okay, so my theory about the ordering is invalidated by that.
Oh, question. Does it even use the two-wayness of sockets, or does it always open a connection to send a response back?
It always opens a connection to send a response back. If there's a way to use the two-wayness of sockets, I'd love to do that. We talked in class, and it sounded like the result of that conversation was that the server needed to manage, it needed to listen on one, and then it needed to open a connection with a different one.
That's normally handled transparently by the TCP accept connect cycle.
Okay.
Once you have a connection.
It's two-way.
Yeah.
Interesting. So this may not be necessary.
Except that the other side closed this connection.
Well.
Yeah, you should be able to chit chat back and forth until
Over
you're
a single
done.
Socket, yeah.
Until you're done updating.
Oh.
For each of them, which might simplify things.
It might. And simple, I would like simple.
Yeah.
Simple would be helpful here. So I can show you where this message is generated. Would that be helpful potentially?
Why not?
Sure.
So the server, it has these methods, tell and whatnot. It is using these two methods, receive message and send message. These two methods wrap the sock.sendAll and sock.receive methods in the socket API.
Okay.
So That happens in this file called message pass.
Okay.
And the place where that exception is happening is right here. So essentially, there's some number of bytes that the listener is expecting to receive.
If you get an
And
empty string back,
we
will
still
that
haven't
give
received
you
that number
an
of
empty
bytes,
chunk?
but the chunk is nil. It's not there.
Okay, but n bytes is greater than 0.
So what we do is receive exactly. So we get the size, I guess, of the message that we're supposed to be getting back. And then we pass in that number to receive exactly. While that number is greater than 0, we expect for some more message to come through. We append whatever comes through to our message variable, and we take the length of that and subtract it from n bytes.
This is
such that
fairly
n bytes
standard,
should
yeah.
ultimately become 0.
Yeah, this is what.
Transmitting the size as in the first 8 bytes.
That makes sense. Yeah, because in TCP, you don't actually, TCP is below, you have to have some kind of delimiting. You have to either say the next message is going to be this long and then, and be right,
Okay.
or you have to have some sort of magic delimiter that, some agreed upon string that will never ever occur.
Oh, end of file.
Yeah, but it's not end of file.
I know.
Yeah, but
effectively.
like an effectively end of file, because you don't have TCP doesn't. It isn't at the level of having messages. It's just
Bytes.
streaming bytes. So yeah, every protocol established. HTTP has its own. Every protocol establishes some way of determining the length. Sending. This is how or knowing how. Where the delineations are between messages.
Okay, so when you do send message, it determines the length, puts that into 8 bytes, transmits that, and then transmits the message.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then so we say while n bytes is greater than 0, chunk equals sock.receive n bytes. That's going to receive up to that. Normally, that would receive up to n bytes.
Oh, Chelsea. Can we make it so it throws differently if we get no chunk on receive exactly inside of receive size versus receiving the rest of the message? Because I would hope that would happen only when we go to receive size, as in we want a message and it's not there. Whereas if it happens in the receive exactly message call on line 14, then it's a bug in our sending, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And that's just diagnostic.
There's another thing here. You're doing receive exactly. Okay, so you're actually converting an integer to an 8 byte to 8 bytes on the wire.
What?
No.
Here we're converting 8 bytes on the wire into an integer.
That's a lot of bytes for an integer. Size dot 2 bytes 8 big.
Now that's got to be some Python library thingy.
So yeah.
Anyway, I just want to get a different exception if we're unable to receive the size versus unable to receive the message of that size.
So we can do that here with
probably
to the effect of that, and then let's see.
Yeah, a recommendation for protocols like this. Well, transmitting integers as binary is a little bit dicey because you can run into endian issues and stuff like that. Another way to do it is just to decide that you're going to send them as like one character, not one character, but you're going to send them as like a few characters of ASCII, and you're going to parse the ASCII, but a known number of like, you know, maybe like 4 characters worth of ASCII or something. And then you parse the ASCII, because then you don't have to worry about Indian issues.
Oh yeah. So in those IO errors, can you like pass a cause?
Yeah. I think.
Like when you say accept, do you get the exception that was accepted?
Yes.
Ooh, nice.
Like that?
IO error as E? Interesting.
It's Python.
Yeah. Probably the second argument to the constructor.
I don't know what that's going to give us. Oh, do I get message on it? I'm not sure what I have.
Does IO error accept a cause argument? Because it does in other languages. But
Does accept a cause?
Well, so what this does is it captures the exception as the variable E.
Sure.
And then there's like, yes.
I just wanted to have a cause statement exception, but that's.
Oh, like what exception led to the exception?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some language, JavaScript, that does not work.
Oh, right.
In Java, that does work.
Yeah, it came late to Ruby.
Well, we will find out what this will do.
Yeah.
Cool. Because there's lots of context we can add to those errors too. Now that we know where that error is, we could add the context of what's received so far and how many bytes it was expecting.
That's true, we could. So the exception occurred in receive size.
Ah, it occurred in receive size.
Okay.
I mean, does that just mean that they didn't send anything?
Bad file descriptor.
That's a different one too.
I've seen this a couple of times. Why are we getting bad file descriptor?
Well, it's a socket. A socket is a file descriptor, right? Does
That's
that
true.
say the connection's no good?
Possibly.
So we
no,
get this
that's.
You didn't throw bad file descriptor. That's something else, right?
That's something else.
Bad file descriptor is an odd one.
So that's not being thrown by her code like the other side close this connection is.
That's not what I would expect for a closed. I mean, maybe? Bad file descriptor.
Never opened?
Maybe never opened. Bad file descriptor. Okay, what is the file descriptor? That's the next piece of context we need to know.
So bad file descriptor.
It looks like it's happening on that line. Let's see.
We need to put more data in here because
you don't have the debugger working in PyCharm, do you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We could try to figure that out. But it would
that is handy.
have not used it in Python. One thing that we do have is PDB. I have to look up exactly how you use PDB real quick.
Python IO error constructor.
So we could.
We are in Python 3 now, right?
Yes.
I think so. Okay.
Oh, what am I on here? Oh yeah, 3.
When we get this error, can we dump something about the socket?
We can. Here, what we can do, well, let's do this. Import PDB.
Yeah, okay.
And then do
well, we're getting it in receive size right now, right?
Yeah, it's it looks like it's happening on that line right there because well, it looks like that's where this bad file is.
Okay. All right.
But it looks like that's from the socket API from this receive method.
Mm-hmm. So bad file descriptor. Yeah, like I would expect an error about the file descriptor being closed if it was closed. I'm just wondering if there's like a order of initialization issue here. Can we get the debugger to start there?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that because if this line throws the exception and we put it beforehand, then I'm not quite sure how to step.
Oh, you say from E. On line 28, at the end of the line, can you say from E? Nope, very end of the line. Nope, after that. Nope, after that. Like very end.
Here.
Nope, nope, farther to the right.
Here.
Yeah, from E.
Like that?
Yep.
What's that going to do?
Retain the original cause and hopefully make for a more useful printout.
Causality.
Oh. Do I need to do anything else or that's it?
Well, we could put that somewhere else. We could put it on line 18 as well.
Although it doesn't look like.
Yep. So that way, if we get bad file descriptor, we might also get the stack trace for bad file descriptor.
All right, let's see what happens to us.
Good call.
Thanks.
Yeah.
This kind of testing is where PTYs come in handy. You can automate this.
Did it give it to us?
The above exception was the direct cause of the following exception. Beautiful.
Oh, okay, so there's another one. Bad file descriptor is just up from there.
Okay, go up.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. So that was actually in the receive call itself.
That's
so not the chunk was null. The sock.receive failed because it's full of anger and it hates your sock.
Yeah, I want to know things about the socket. I want to know if it was open at all.
Yeah, something's just off in the socket handling. And I mean, when something's off in the socket handling, that can cause all kinds of nonsense.
Let's see. What can I say here?
I don't know. Sock dot, what are you? What are you, sock?
Print the socket or print the stringification of the socket.
I don't know what that does. Or, well, debug would be even better.
We can do that. I'm not sure how we're going to step through at that point, but we can figure it out when we get there. All right, here we go. Boom. Boom. Oh, what's it upset about? Oh, right away it's
Do C for continue. All right, go back to.
Okay.
Sweet. Okay, let's take a look at sock. Perfect. File descriptor 6, family address, family. Okay, go ahead and do a continue. Let's see if this is where we're exploding.
Now we're on the other one.
And we have already gotten bad file descriptor stuff.
Connection refused.
Oh, connection refused. Well, that might be because
that's just from the servers that are down right now.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
We can stop those, but here's what we can do. This is the whole system is like very brittle, and that's going to prevent this. All right. In the future, that won't happen anymore. But I don't see any bad file descriptor yet.
All right,
If we
continue.
can continue down here.
Continue above, maybe.
They're both listening.
Continue
It's
below.
listening.
Is
There we
either of
go.
them sending anything?
Oh, we've got PDB on the client side as well now.
Oops.
Well, they're both servers and they're both using that method to receive messages. So
Connecting to localhost. I definitely need another beer.
all right, so far so good.
Yeah, now at this point, we're in a situation where it's not going to be entirely clear whether our problems have to do with the original problems or whether they have to do with the other ends of the connection being randomly frozen because they're in the debugger. So that's tricky.
So we can get super kludgy with it and do. I wonder if we can get super kludgy with it. Only have one of them. You know what I mean? Only set the trace on one of them.
Yeah, I mean, what I want to do is I want to actually start one of them under the control of you know, in the like a debugging profile in PyCharm. I wonder if we can do that. Let's find out if we can do that. Let's get rid of or comment out line 38 for now.
Yeah, totally.
And let's kill one of our servers. Actually, kill them both because we need to start them up without the debugger. And I guess kill the client too.
Oh yeah.
Because it's cranky. Continue, I guess, and then kill it.
So upset. There we go.
Yeah.
This guy can go too.
Let's start either Tom or Dick in the terminal, but let's start the other one. Let's see if we can start. Well, let's go over to. Let's even see if we can do it. Let's go over to PyCharm, and I think it's going to be under the Run menu.
The Run menu. Let's see. Let me move this. Run.
Yeah. Edit configuration. Oh, actually, let's see. Yeah, debug ...
Here.
Yeah. We might have to just go to edit configurations. Okay. There's a lot here I don't know because I don't really do much in Python. I don't want to do method. I think we just want to run a script. No, we don't want Python tests. So what's we want to set up a configuration. What happens when you hit the plus in the upper left-hand corner?
Good question.
Python. All right. That's promising. Let's find the script that we're going to run. So there's a ... there to the right. Start server, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's go ahead and let's give this a name up in the name field. Yeah, run server. Yeah.
That it?
Oh, I guess let's try this. Do an apply and then a debug.
All right.
Okay, now what we want to do is we want to put a breakpoint in and find out if it works.
And that'll go
So,
here.
yep.
Well, here.
And so we'll want to do a thing with the other processes to see if we can get this into a breakpoint. Other thing we can maybe do is we may be able to set up a breakpoint on exception. That'll be over in the lower left-hand side of the screen. There are a couple of breakpoint configuration buttons. Probably that one.
This.
All right, so we've already got any exception checked. So in theory,
Theory, it should work.
yeah.
Okay.
So maybe we can get this to trigger.
And then we need to do that by probably starting up a client and saying something. So let's do them. Provided my keyboard were working. That's weird. Does it work here? Yeah, it does. Maybe my iTerm just crapped out. That's sick of me. Weird. Okay. All right, so we hit the breakpoint.
Oh, sweet. Okay, now we can actually like poke into things without a lot of hassle. And we can also, so one thing we can do is we could just turn off that breakpoint, let it run, and see if we get if we trigger an exception in there.
Like that?
Yeah, and then hit the, I think there's a button to the lower leftish that's green. That one, yeah. And then we can mess around and see if we can make it explode.
Okay. So we could do nothing, which makes sense because it doesn't have anything in its data store.
Right.
We could. Should I start up another server and designate this one the leader?
Yeah.
See what happens. Let's do that. Unexpected indent.
Uh-oh.
Oh, this is my bad. All right. And then we do client.
Okay, are we still running over on the in the IDE? All right, nothing there.
I wonder if maybe the receiving server needs to be the one we have the breakpoint set on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe.
Well, we can do that like so.
I don't know if we can, it may be possible to start more than one debug process in PyCharm.
Let's try that next.
Okay.
This should designate 1003 the leader. if there's something I'm doing that does not work for this. Like if because we do get it here when we caught up 1003 from 1000, or rather 10,003 from 10,000. We got the exception.
Okay.
In receive size, same as before, from this.
Well, this is saying the other side closed this connection.
Yeah, this is a little different than the bad file descriptor thing.
Yeah. I wonder if there's some way we can see when it's closing the connection. There's file. Oh, there's receive size. Bad file descriptor. Well, we might be able to get them both under the control of the debugger.
Okay.
We'll probably have to do some flipping back and forth if we do that, but.
Have you looked at the socket code of like the passing in of the socket, like the scope of the socket variables? I'm just wondering if you've looked at that yet.
What we did while you were
Thank you.
gone is we got.
You can try this one now.
Oh yeah. Cheers. Yep, I want that one.
This works. What you did while I was gone.
Well, we got one of them running up under control of the PyCharm debugger.
Oh, good. Good.
I think we should look at getting 2 of the servers under control of the PyCharm debugger.
One thing that's weird about this problem is that when you change one of the servers, you're also changing the other.
Yes.
Right, which just so downstairs, I went downstairs and Eric was showing me some things from his, he did Aikido weapons class today, and he's showing me like these quarterstaff katas, and I do this, and then the opponent does that, and then the other person does this, and it reminded me of this because it's like they're learning the same thing together, and if you change one of them, you change both, and so the dance is really complicated.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get the other one running at the same, another server running at the same time under the control of the debugger.
Okay.
So we should be able to, yeah, just like edit the configurations again, run, yeah, okay. So maybe what we need, like maybe like this should be like run Tom and run Dick or something.
Yeah.
What is me?
It's the name of this server name here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Do we have me and you this time?
Yeah, we can do that. Oh God. What is
Okay, let's go ahead and go back in there.
I can't computers. Here we go.
You might be able to duplicate. Oh, there's a copy.
Copy.
Like upper left of this window, next to the minus.
Oh, that's a better idea. Hold on.
At the other left.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, get rid of the other run you.
Oh yeah, get rid of this right away.
And yeah.
Like that.
Okay, let's see if I can. Oh shoot! I
Let
see
me
it.
shut all this down.
Let me see.
I see an apply. I don't see a. Well, okay. Go ahead and. Can we run both at the same time? Okay, let's go ahead and I guess hit close or okay. And
Probably run
upper right of the
I
screen.
think you can.
Okay, we've got run U selected. So we've got run. Okay, let's shut down run server because that's old news now. So let's lower left of the screen. There's a stop button.
Oh yeah, on run server.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then now let's do upper right of the screen. Let's do a run me. So drop that down, run me, and press the debug button, not the run.
Yeah, play just plays it.
Stop that one. There's an X that should get rid of it completely. Lower
The
left.
red X that gets it out of the log view.
Yeah. Okay. So run me, press the bug, not the go.
Great. Do we
Now
need to set any
switch to
breakpoints or anything?
switch to run you.
You
And
can add debug points later.
hit the bug. Yes. Okay, we have tabs now.
Yeah, run me.
Got 'em.
Great.
Oh yeah. All right. So do we need to set any breakpoints now?
I don't know. We should have break on exception by default for both.
True.
Yep.
So maybe we can just set a client up and start mucking around.
We can get
Set a
it.
client up, start mugging around. Sounds like a plan to me.
I mean, we could even put the client in under the debugger too if we wanted to, but
Let's
Good.
let's
I don't know
let's
that it
let
would
the
be.
client do something. Client, we don't do much for the client, right?
yeah.
We don't have expectations of the client other than to send you the leader.
All right. So that'll be me.
Yeah. I
Me
don't
got
know if there's
connection
I don't know if there's a way to.
from our client.
We might be able to put these next to each other in PyCharm. I'm not sure.
So we can split.
That's usually for editors, though.
Yeah.
There's
It's
a little
okay.
to the right on that bar to the right. There's a little gear. Split mode. Nah.
You can pop it out. Floating mode.
Yeah. Let's try that.
Yeah, they're still together. There are a few other options to
There's
try
still
on there.
thumbs.
Might also try right-clicking on the tabs. I don't know if that or like. What does group tabs do? Out of curiosity. Oh, that's even worse.
Where is it?
How do I ungroup it? There we go.
Weird.
There's got to be a way to pull those apart.
I'm interested to see what happens.
Remove from sidebar. I wasn't aware it was in the sidebar.
It's not.
What does that do? Click it.
Gone.
It's either under window or view.
What?
Like,
to get it back?
Yeah, the under the in the either the window menu or the view menu. I think probably the window menu. Active tool window. Oh yeah, jump to last tool window might actually do it.
There it is.
Good old F12. So I haven't used PyCharm, but I've used the other IntelliJ. Yeah. JetBrains.
Oh yeah, do you use RubyMine?
Yeah, I've used some RubyMine, some of the Java ones.
Mine and some Rubies.
Somewhere in here is a way to put these side by side, but maybe it's not the most.
Yeah,
let's just whatever. We can flip back and forth. We might want to stick it back onto the main window.
Oh gosh.
If you want, or you can make it bigger and
It's just uncheck floating mode, whatever.
Yep. Re-embedded.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, we're working under there, so we can elect one of these as the leader and see what happens.
Yep, let's do it. Whew, pardon me. All right, so what we need to do is like that. Why is it upset? No, that's right.
Ooh, hey, we got an exception.
Something.
Did it break? That's the, or I mean, did the debugger?
Yeah, bad file descriptor.
Okay.
Woo!
So if you flip, ooh,
In receive size.
that's interesting. Flip over to the debugger side on both of those.
Okay,
So
how do I do that?
there's a second set of tabs. Yeah.
Socket is already connected?
Oh, so it did not. Oh, no, that doesn't make sense. Can you check to see if in the breakpoints view, can you check to see if break on exception is still?
Then the exception.
On raise.
Oh, yeah, on raise. That's a good one. And set that for both windows.
Absolutely. Although it should automatically be, well, okay, done. And then we come over here, do this.
Okay, so it's for both. All right, cool. So yeah, because I think it's probably right now it's only going to break if the exception reaches something.
When it makes you stop.
Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
let's run it again.
When it kills the process.
I don't think I necessarily needed it to restart it just then. It was like force of habit. Okay. Let's see what happens to us. Ah.
It didn't stop.
No.
And this is why I hate debuggers.
Go all the way to the bottom.
They never work.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, that's weird. It didn't stop.
I'm not defending JetBrains, but I do find that the debugger appears to work a little better in compiled languages than interpreted languages for whatever reason.
No kidding.
Okay, the other side closed this connection. Okay. Have we there was something about socket already open the one time. I think we should look at the life cycle of the variables that are passed in as sock. Because I have a feeling Avdi knows something here.
I probably do.
Okay.
That he's going to be able to look at that and be like, oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
So you want to see where these sockets are getting created?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's do that. Let me show you server. Here's what we're going to do. So receive exactly is blowing up in receive size, which is called from receive message, and sock is passed all the way through there.
Right. So where does that sock come from?
Okay, so let's take a look at where receive message is called in the server. Here is sock.
Connection. So that's passed in to handle client.
Yeah, so let's look at where handle client is called. Here.
Cat is creepily scraping at the door. Whoops, sorry. Must be Odin. He knows how to push. It's not even closed, Odin.
Why do we have a thread here?
So we have a thread so that essentially each time a client requests a connection to the server, it opens a separate thread and communicates on that one such that each server can talk to multiple clients at once.
That makes sense.
Does it though?
Yeah. I mean, you want to do that. Every time you accept a connection, you want to spin off a thread to handle that connection. That's not weird. Server socket. Okay. Okay, so that's it, setting it up. And then that's handle client. But there's some places where we start connections in order to send. In particular, when we get you're the leader, we start connections to the other ones.
Server socket equals socket, AFI net, sock stream, server socket dot sec sock ops, soul socket, so reuse address 1, server bind, server address, listen with a timeout. Is that listen with a timeout of 5?
This is the number of connections that it can accept simultaneously.
Okay, all right.
You probably want 6 if you're going to run 5 servers and a client.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But
the
realistically,
issue
you
with
should
this.
only be receiving a connection from a client or a server. Come here, Mr. Thunderous Purr.
Yeah, he's casting thunderous purr. It's been a while.
There's a kitty.
Come here, Rhea.
Kitty.
Come here and purr. Listen.
He's so orange.
Oh, I'm getting here. Okay. Mic that cat up.
Does the cat know?
He's not so happy about it when I lift him up to the mic,
Yeah.
so the purr
Aw.
lowers. So floofy. Good
Oh.
job, Odin. We like you. Thank
So
you for not
fluffy.
pooping anywhere terrible today when you
He
couldn't
looks
access
exactly like an Odin.
it. Doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the name he came with as a kitten, and we did not change it. This is correct. Okay.
Okay, while
So-
true, we sit there, we accept connections, we print that
handle
we
that.
got
That's
a
fine.
connection.
But when we get you're the leader, I want to see those connections.
Yes. So I can show you that. What happens is, here, let me show you what happens. So in parsing, when we receive you're the leader, we call this method called broadcast.
Hmm.
Broadcast takes all the other server addresses in destination addresses. So what this method does is it goes to that server registry and it brings back a list of all the addresses of any server that's not the server that's currently called.
Right.
Okay.
And then it does this tell thing.
What's tell look like?
So this lives in server, and this is what it is. So this is where we're starting up our little client sockets. So we make our socket.
There's the socket. And whoa.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Wait. How can you only have one client socket when you're connecting to all the different servers? This was in a for loop, and you're setting a class variable of client socket.
Shit.
That's definitely not.
Okay,
That should definitely be a local.
That's not a class variable. That is an instance
You're right.
variable.
It's an
in
instance
Python.
variable.
Instance
It's an instance.
variable, but we're still talking about one instance of a server.
Yeah.
With multiple different client sockets happening to each of the different
Yeah, you
other
just
servers.
called this in a loop.
So this thing is getting reset. And we don't use it after this. So really it should be
Except, was that server.tell or was that self.tell? I thought it was server.tell.
server.tell.
Okay, well, are we instantiating a server for each of the other servers? Which is confusing as fuck, but
we're passing it. That's a good question. So what we do is we say, we pass in the server to this. And this,
okay, so
this
there's a single one that gets passed into that.
Right.
So we are calling it over and over and over again, and in each case, setting that instance variable to something else. That's definitely wrong.
Majorly suspicious. You're right.
That should be a
However,
local variable.
so my hypothesis is that what we can do is scope this.
Right. Just take out the self dot.
Yeah. And then I want to make sure that we're not reassigning it within the scope of this method now. It's actually going to be a different one.
It's just going to be a local variable.
Because we call this on each individual for each individual address. So as long as
also, the name of that one sets off a flag. Is that also what we are using to talk to the client? Right? Because in this case, it's not the client that we're telling, it's another server, but.
Correct. So here, client socket means something different than client, for example.
Might want to call that like peer or something.
Well, in that case, it's a peer. Tell, it's kind of generic. It's just like the destination socket.
That is true, although convention, but not, it doesn't technically have to be this way, but it so happens that whenever broadcast is called, it is talking to other servers.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but the tell method doesn't necessarily have to talk to a server, does it? Can it actually talk to the actual client?
It
maybe not.
Cannot actually.
Okay.
And so in the server, What
Okay.
we do,
So that's actually never a client socket. It's always a peer socket.
it's never a client socket. It's always a peer socket, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, because check it out. We call, if the destination is a client, we use send message directly. And if not, we use this tell method.
Oh, okay.
And the reason for that is that if we're sending something to the client, we need to use the connection that the client created.
Right.
Okay, whereas when we're
Otherwise, we'll
talking to the
create one.
servers, every time we call tell, we open a new connection, which is weird.
Well,
Yes, we do. And then
it's
we
coarse
close it at the
grained.
end.
It's coarse grained. Okay.
Yeah, we close it up right there. But
Yeah.
this
Okay.
should
So
be
the
more
fact
clear.
that that was an instance variable being accessed by a lot of by multiple threads, running this thing simultaneously,
Yeah, that
who knows what's going to happen there?
definitely could have been an issue. I wonder what'll happen if we do it.
It's hard to predict.
Yeah. I mean, we could try it and see what's different now.
Yeah.
Might as well see
That was
which.
a good catch. Do I initialize that thing anywhere? No. I don't know why it was.
Probably not. I mean, you didn't use it before you set it. It's just that you set it 1 to 4 times before you used it. But see, when there was but this isn't going to fix the problem with exactly one other server, because that would have been fine while there was only Dick, right?
Oh yeah, you're
To
right.
talk to. So that's not.
Oh, maybe, because the thing is, it was trying to talk to all the servers in the registry.
Oh.
So
Does
it
it
would still
exclude
call
itself?
the method multiple times.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. While there were multiple ones. Did we try it? But the last time I think we tried it without. But anyway, we might as well try it again anyway, because we
should
changed
give it a
something.
whirl.
Well, let's see what it does. So let's just eliminate all sources of confusion here. And shut down. So I will stop these. Stop them. Did I stop that one successfully?
Yeah, it stopped. If you push the red X, then it goes away entirely. And if you just push stop, then it stops. When you push the restart here, will it use the latest code?
Yes.
Okay. I have problems with that in Untitled.
Okay, and then I can restart them.
Mm-hmm.
So let me shut off my client. Oh, yeah. And what we will do is run that again. Okay, so run me.
Also, you can start a command line in here if you want to have the client in there too.
We might end up doing that. Oh gosh, what is wrong?
Alt F12 or something.
Very upset. I don't know what I even did wrong.
I don't know. Kill this completely first with the X.
I don't trust them to load the new code, but that's VS Code actually. That doesn't.
Oh.
What does it steal? File not found error. We didn't delete the file.
Wait, what is it saying it can't find?
It can't find a file.
Can you like scroll that or expand that or something? PyCharm CE
Seriously?
app content.
No, that's just IntelliJ being stupid.
I don't
restart
know.
Restart the IDE.
So I have to tell y'all a story.
Oh, goody.
I teach iOS at the University of Chicago. iOS, you use this IDE Xcode, which has got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And I would say if something's happening in your code and you don't know the reason for iOS development, like 50% chance restarting Xcode is going to fix it.
Oh, man.
And the number of times that students were like, I don't really know what's going on. And I would nervously be like, did you try restarting Xcode? Because I know that if that doesn't fix it, it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about.
But you have to try restarting Xcode, which that one you're probably going to have to kill.
Yeah, terminating run me. What is the problem? Ah! Whoa!
No, you wanted to quit. That was the goal. Quitting was the objective. Something might be hogging your port, though.
Yeah, I get the impression that I did not shut down
All right. Next stop is like starting up your task manager and just making sure there aren't any stray Python processes running.
Yeah, let's do that.
Fail. I mean, if something's listening on the port, we'll get a fail to start up, which isn't the worst.
Mad at me. Let's try that.
No user named X. What is PS doing?
PS.
So this should list all my processes that are currently running.
Yeah, but it's not.
No, it's apparently looking for a user named X.
I don't know.
minus EF, Pipegraph Python.
What is it?
PS
AUX
minus EF.
AUX is a Linux thing. I don't know if that works on.
Yeah, on Mac,
On Mac.
PS minus EF.
That?
Yeah, and then you can grep for Python if you want. There it is. Okay.
That doesn't look like it.
All right, we're good.
Grep minus I. Python. Just ignore case.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Ah!
Real upset.
I will never install Python.
No, I have a lot of
There will
Python
only be
projects
Docker.
on here, so that could have something to do with it. So anything that's like Thea, anything is a completely different project.
Okay.
So none of this.
What's the thing that says what's listening on a port?
Oh,
Or
it's
what
that
ports are
thing.
being listened
It's the
on?
thing that does
lsof?
the thing. Oh yeah, lsof with a bunch of fucking.
With a
What
secret
are all the
kernel.
things I'm supposed to? Can I do that? Oh no, I can't because this isn't spelled right.
There are no sloths. Oh God.
Look, go scroll to the end and look at
Spells.
examples.
Where's the do things right spell? Capital G.
Capital G?
That goes to the end.
Shit, I didn't know that.
All right, now scroll up and look for
all
examples.
effing spells, man.
I love it.
Control U is page up. Yep, see if there's some examples. God.
Can I grep this for examples?
Yep, slash.
Yes, slash. Or question if you want to go up.
Oh yeah.
But you can slash examples and then after that say capital N.
Press return. Oh
No,
oh,
capital N.
Capital N.
Yeah.
All right.
There it is.
Nice.
And then so you can
It's
capital
very
N if
file.
you want to go up to the next examples.
To list all open. Let's see here.
lsof minus I. Minus I is good.
Yeah, I is internet.
Yeah, just do lsof minus I. See what that does. That's probably fine.
Yeah. Oh,
I say
there
we
they
try.
all are.
Oh, there they are. Is
Yeah,
that a
there's
PID or a port?
There's some port filter.
Just do pipe grep 10,001 and then later 2. Yeah.
And then what?
That works.
Yeah. Why doesn't it do something? Is it slow?
Takes a really
Okay.
long time.
And then do the same thing, but
it
with
normally
2.
takes a really long time to find all
that.
connections.
Okay, and try 2. Oh, nice burp.
Good burp.
Excuse me.
5 out of 5.
I actually like this. Who gave this to me the other day? Who was like, somebody gave me these vanilla porters and I don't want them, take them home. And
I was not there for that.
Okay. That happened, but I don't
All
remember
right.
where.
I
It's
kind
gonna
of
be fine.
believe that
Just
nothing
PyCharm.
is. Yeah, let's go
I would
ahead
do that again with 2, but it's
let's
fine.
fire this up.
Okay, are we doing it from the debugger or the console?
Let's do it from the let's get the server started from the debugger.
Okay. Here we go.
Might as well clear out the server registry since we're here.
Yeah.
Sad server registry.
Listen,
All
there's a lot.
Why does the client register on the server registry? No, that's just sometimes you start one with 1,000.
Are we still doing this? God damn it, Python.
Python, fuck. Seriously?
Okay, the one variable that we changed, let's this is stupid, but go back to that exception setup or
no,
the
this is
breakpoint
intelligent.
setup.
That's what it is? No. Okay. If this is what it is, I don't know how useful this is.
Just, I don't know. It's one variable that we changed. I want to see if this changes anything.
Okay.
This is stupid. God, IntelliJ, just fucking work. Oh, I want to debug our program.
Yep, that worked.
Not IntelliJ. Seriously. Jesus Christ.
It's probably only a special version of the debugger. The debugger supports that feature, and it doesn't have that special version.
Wow.
Oh man.
What were we doing? We were just trying to run it and see what happens. Now that we have removed the one problem that we found.
Right.
It's been so long since I had to debug a Python thing.
Oh
I've
man.
never debugged a Python thing.
You know what it is? PyCharm, it's just a super intelligent editor that discovered on its own that we like solving problems. So I thought it was helping.
Okay, actually, so this second this second line that says warning debugger speedups using Python not found, run this thingy, that's probably related. Like if there's a special version of the debugger needed for speedups, I'll bet it's the same version of the debugger that's needed for detecting raises. I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow.
So generally, your debugger's not good enough, and we hate you, and we're not going to tell you that. We're just going to give you a cryptic error that makes you hate everything.
I hate debuggers so much.
Ah.
You know, and you say that like the compiled ones were better, but I used to work with debuggers for compiled languages where they would literally just like show you the wrong source code for where you were.
Oh my gosh.
And you would spend a long time like trying to understand why the program was just jumping around to random lines of code until finally you realized that it was just like the mapping had been lost.
Oh my god.
You know,
so maybe none of it's good. Maybe all of it's bad.
Debuggers are the worst.
They kind of, this is why debuggers are the worst. Because when you're using them, you're already like, oh my fucking God, what is happening?
They're like the customer service of automated like development process.
Yes. Yep. Yes. You wouldn't call them if you weren't already frustrated. Well, and what do? What do? They try to get you off the phone as fast as possible. Error.
Well, and debuggers are also like fundamentally navel-gazing mechanisms. You have two run me's going, not a run me and a run you.
That can't work. One of them has to be
that
like my port is taken.
Seems problematic.
Well, this one is the broken one.
Okay.
Okay. Hit the red X. Skull. Red X that one.
The skull.
Oh, the skull. The skull is like kill -9 kind of thing.
I think it might be. Kill it with extreme prejudice.
Or at least some prejudice.
Some prejudice.
Anyway.
The permitted amount of prejudice.
Okay. So also run you.
Okay. This one I did not. Okay, wait.
This is fine. Okay. Server registry should have me and you. Why does server registry have nothing?
Does it not reload?
It doesn't reload. You have to like.
Fuck you, IntelliJ. Just seriously. VS Code is better than that.
I got to get on this VS Code train. You're not the first person to say that.
Well,
VS
that's
Code
because
is kind of the shit.
VS Code, yeah, it's the modern shit. I mean, it has its own problems, and IntelliJ is better in some ways, but VS Code's the future.
I mean, like there are things that I still do in JetBrains IDEs. Like code exploration is really good in JetBrains IDEs.
Mm-hmm.
Archaeology, pretty great.
Yeah, VS Code is not the best in every way, but it is the where the improvement's happening.
Yeah.
They also got the perfect Twitter handle, so that helps their case.
True. They have code. But oh my God, the stuff that they're doing with remote development, like development inside
that is the future.
Docker containers and remote containers and WSL, it's just amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It basically like, okay.
Oh, yay, me and you. We're there. I'm
Cool.
so happy. We should be the leader. Somebody should be the leader.
All right.
Okay,
So
let's make somebody the leader. Do we need to set any breakpoints before we make somebody the leader?
Nah.
Nah.
let's just see if we're still blowing up the same way we used to be.
Yeah, we want to see what's happening today.
Yeah.
Because we've changed some things.
Yeah.
State of the world.
Yeah.
All right. Kaboom.
Okay.
Kaboom.
The other side closed this connection.
So this is the lead. I'm going to flip over
That's
to
the
the
one we were
leaders
looking
little
at.
trace.
Bad file descriptor. Okay. Scroll up because bad file descriptor's up there. Okay. So we got bad file descriptor again. Now.
Wait a minute. What's up with this? Okay, exception in thread 8. So what's the thing above it? So we have this happening in two threads.
So here's the thing. Because we're doing this short-lived socket thing,
Yeah.
where we like send a message, and I'm guessing we close the socket after we
theoretically close the socket
Sending and then
after we do
immediately
this, but I can show
closing
you
could
that.
actually be problematic.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, like if we close before the client has a chance to receive, might actually cause problems.
Okay, so we might need to use longer lived connection to the servers in that sense, but we could test that. Okay, closing socket due to blah. Okay, but where's the other place that we close the socket? Do we close it like after we tell it something? I think we do. Like in tell, there was a close some. Okay, no, this is tell
Just
on an
in the
exception, close the socket. But where else do we close the socket?
Let's
We
take a look
connect
at
to it.
Try
pass.
Send a message.
Does it stay open?
Because we do it in message pass, if I'm not mistaken.
Really? Okay, message pass.
Don't.
That seems
Hinky?
Maybe we don't. No. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay.
okay, where else do we close it?
Well, let's do this.
Or do we just hold it open?
Maybe we just keep a bunch of them open. In which case our limit of 5 could get in the way. Okay, there's some closing.
So there's this,
Close
but
it
this is the
finally.
listening socket.
Handle client.
That's the listening socket. And these are those little sockets that we open to connect to other servers.
But only, wait. Do we only close on an exception?
That's the way it looks. And now that I'm looking at that, that seems wrong.
And yet, okay, but that means we're not closing it too early. We're not closing it until we screw something
They
up.
can't close on, no. Wait, they can't close on.
It seems like this should actually be there to me.
Maybe. I mean, it might change some things. Because like right now, I wonder if they're getting closed by being garbage collected.
Okay. Okay.
Just like randomly closed from garbage collection.
In case there might be a destructor.
I'm not convinced that this is going to be better,
This is
but
Python.
it's
They
more
have
controlled.
destructors in Python.
Should we try like this?
Well, I would put a sleep in there.
Here?
Yeah, give it some time to get the message before you close it.
I mean, it's like a.
Because Avdi said that can matter. And that's fine. We can slow our threads down. That's fine.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what we're doing.
Yeah, give it some time to get the message.
I don't know if that's. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, 1.5, something like that. 0.1.
1 second should be fine as long as nobody's doing breakpoints.
That's true. As long as we don't have breakpoints. Bad file descriptor.
All right. Well, I'll boot her up.
Know that.
Where do we get? How do I get to my?
I don't know that closing it early is a problem, but.
Right. But there's this thing of we're getting lots of threads, because we open a thread per message that we receive. And we also open a socket per message that we send.
Right.
So handle client then, well, there's two things. If a client connects, we actually keep the connection open. But if another server connects, we're not supposed to keep the connection open.
Is that considered a client?
Well, it makes a connection.
Right. Oh yeah. It is basic. It's effectively a client.
Yeah. So a server, a peer, we should say, makes a connection in order to send something. And then we make a connection to it in order to send something. And then it makes a connection to us in order to send something, which seems kind of painful. And also, it means that like, so here's a question. We ask it for its length, and then it tells us its length. At the point where it tells us its length, is that where we send it the log?
No. Well, yes, it tells us its length, and then if the length that it sends us is shorter than our log, we send it the logs.
And does it tell us its address at that point? Does it tell us who it is?
It does. So every message, this is a little kludgy the way that I did this, but essentially every message received has the server's name, and then the @ symbol, and then the message. And then
okay, so every time do we go back to the registry and say, oh, this is from me. Me is at this port.
Yep.
Okay.
That is exactly what we do.
Okay. And then so we send a message to me and then close the
There's
connection.
also some potential for problems with the fact that these client connections are being handled by threads.
Right. Well, I mean, hypothetically, that's not weird, but
No, it's not weird, but there's lots of potential for problems with it.
there's the potentials for problems with it. Yes. Well, no. Okay. Wait. It is completely normal and right to handle every client connection with a thread.
Sure.
What's wrong is that we're getting a client connection for every single message, not per server, per message.
Yeah.
And we have a limit,
Yeah.
and because that limit of 5 would be fine if we never had multiple connections open to the same server.
Right.
But we have, I don't know how many connections open because every single message is its own own connection.
True.
And that means its own thread, and that means we're setting the variables again.
True.
And stuff like that. Yeah, so that 5 looks right when you think about how many different places could this be connected. But how many connections can it have to those places is very different in this. This every message is its own connection, but only to the server, not to the client.
I would set that for a very high number, just to get that out of the possibility.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's a good idea. I love the wallpaper.
I do too.
Very
It
cool.
is it's like a fabric that I nailed up because I didn't want to have to repaint.
Perfect.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of nail holes though, for sure. If I ever
This is fun.
All right. So should we try it the way we have it now?
Yeah. Let's see what it does now. What did we do last? Oh, we added connection closing. We might also, on line 54, we wanted to bump that just to take it out of the picture, make it 60 or something.
Or 6,000.
Or 6, yeah, okay. Not 6 million. Let's not make it 6 million. I don't want to overrun anything. All right.
Theoretically, it should never get that high, right? Okay.
Right. It shouldn't, 6, I could see it exceeding. 6,000,
does not seem as likely.
Yeah.
All right. I should probably clear these logs because it's hard to tell now.
Oh yeah.
How do I, is there a way for me to clear? Well,
It's so full
although
of anger and bad file descriptors. Is this new, this part? Did we restart these?
Hmm.
Yeah.
no, we didn't restart these. Yeah. So this whole thing is. You know
Hit
what?
the
Let's.
skull.
Wait. When you push stop and the skull appears,
Oh, no skull for
no
that
skull
one.
for
No
that
skull
one.
this time.
Just hit
Check
the,
on run me. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. When you push stop and the skull appears, that means it hasn't died yet. And the skull is
really?
kill it with fire.
Wow. Okay, wait.
Why?
I can't
Why-
stop it.
why is
'cause
it-
it stopped.
Well, I guess if you push the X, then the log goes
All
away.
right. Well, we're doing this. Oh no, now it's mad at me.
No.
address already in use. We have to kill
okay.
a thing. We have
Okay.
to find
It's
a thing and
just-
kill it.
Address already is in. That is like totally doable.
All right. Task manager.
I mean, that's what it is, right?
Well, but it's not that's not the PID.
Yeah. Let's do. What'd you say it is? LSOF.
All right, let's look this up.
Yeah, this is a Google. Find the spell.
We're getting spells.
All right, LSOF -I space :80.
Obviously.
Or not 80, but
80.
colon and the port number.
Obviously, colon.
Like that?
Space between the -I and the colon.
What?
Hey, I don't make the rules.
So this is it?
Yeah.
In
try
theory.
that.
Okay.
Why are there 3?
Why are there 3?
There can't be 3.
And dump.
What? No, that's not right.
You know what it is?
No.
So this is where it's listening. And these are connections it's established with the client and the other server.
Oh, look at that.
Oh. Okay, so it's showing all the connections.
Yeah.
Kill everything.
Kill it all.
Yeah. We don't want
That-
any of those things up. Well, I mean, the client, whatever, but might as well kill it too.
This is weird. These two had the same PID.
Okay.
It's confusing.
That's not
Is
that's
it-
not
wait.
completely weird.
Is it connected to itself?
Right. What is happening there?
Because we didn't expect it to connect it to itself. Chelsea said that it excludes itself in the list of servers,
Hmm.
but it's totally feasible that it is in fact connecting to itself.
That's true. We can. That's possible. All right. Everything's dead now.
I mean, that might be okay,
Problem.
but
You
It
can
could
probably
be a problem.
theoretically it would just tell itself that its log is long enough.
Yeah, theoretically it would.
It's already connecting
Theoretically.
to many instances of itself of the same process.
Okay, let's shut this thing down. I don't even want this one. I'm like upset with this one, so even if it wasn't its fault, I want to use it. I want to start a new one, but I don't even see an X.
Where's the X? Ah!
Oh, it's down. Sometimes you
Oh.
have to click the extra give me the rest of the fucking buttons thing.
Oh my gosh.
that.
Wow, I hate
Always give me the X, IntelliJ. I always need the X.
Oh man, that's real cocky of it to think that you're not
Right?
ever gonna need to kill anything. Fine. Okay, one of them's running. Now we're gonna run the other one. Okay, here we go. Okay. So this was the leader.
Okay. What is the first exception?
Bad file descriptor and receive.
No more data. Waiting for a connection. Bad file descriptor.
Here's what's so weird to me. All this stuff happens. The whole back and forth interaction works perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the end right there. So
Okay.
then after the end is over, we then get this exception in some thread.
In receive size. Oh, suspicious. In handle clients, while true, print waiting for a connection. Wait.
When in doubt, add
Why is
customer
handle
login.
client waiting for a connection? Isn't kind of the point that it already has one? That's probably just about print.
Yeah, I think the print statement is just not in a good place. I can show it's right there.
Yeah, okay. That doesn't make sense. This is fine. While true. We have 2 while trues in the clients.
We do.
Why?
So that's a good question.
See, we keep trying to receive a message even after we've closed. That top while true might be the problem of it works and then we get an exception.
Oh, yeah.
Because what do we do after we close the connection? We wait for connection and then we receive a message.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Why 2 while trues there?
Or at least it seems weird. What comes after the while?
Here we can go down and look.
Yeah. That's
So there's a finally for the second one. What the fuck is the point of the first one?
Good question. Don't remember. Let's try taking that out.
Yeah, might as well go away along with its print. Because the print being invalid implies that while true is no longer needed. They're probably both out of date.
Will that work, or does Python get wiggy because it needs to be de-indented?
So if I understand correctly, it doesn't matter how much it's indented as long as the correct things are indented relative to each other.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
This
So it's just
should be fine, but it would not be okay with that.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So here we want to receive messages until we get an exception. And actually, we're always expecting a reception because we keep trying to receive a message, whether it's told us to fork off or not. So in that sense, it's normal to get an exception.
Does one of these buttons allow me to clear this log?
I just want to point out that, like,
I don't know.
That, like, you were super embarrassed of this code, but
the code is fine.
We've had a really easy time comprehending it and suggesting things to do differently. So, like,
yeah, because we're like, that's obviously wrong, which says that the code is pretty clear.
Yeah, it's really like there's nothing to be embarrassed of here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Good point. Except for those red underlines, but that's not you. That's
I mean, there are so many things about this. I have so many bees in my bonnet about this whole. So many bees. So many bees. Is there a way to?
I don't know how to clear that log.
Yeah, I have now tried 4 separate things. This is annoying.
So many icons.
Wait, what? There's a trash can. There's a trash can.
Oh,
there it is. That's a trash can.
Like this is why we pair. I had tried 5 things and none of them were clicked in the trash can.
But it's a good thing there's a printer icon, because God knows we need that.
Well, VS
printer icon. What is this for?
It has no print, and it's
I
a
know.
problem.
I saw somebody
to print my markdown.
tweeted about this recently, and they're like, "I just realized VS Code is the first IDE I've ever worked with that did not have, that was relatively mature and did not have a print icon, and this is kind of taking us into a new era."
Yeah, well, I don't actually want to print my code. It's just that now I use VS Code for everything, including Markdown.
Yeah.
And I want to print the Markdown.
Yeah, but it is kind of a new era where, like, it's not considered an important feature to have to print in your coding editor.
Yeah.
That didn't used to be the.
Yeah.
When did they stop using floppy disks as the save icon? also have that
What is the
question.
save
There's
icon
no
now?
NetBrains, right? Because it auto saves. Unless
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, like I'm.
No,
there's
look, it
a
has
lot
it.
of this, yeah.
But
That's
there's
a
also
floppy
Chris
disk.
here.
But also screw explicit save points,
Oh yeah, I think everything should auto save. I would
obviously.
love it if my like. Actually, that's not even true. So WordPress didn't used to auto save, and now it does.
Yay.
As long as it has history and undo,
Yeah, you wanted to autosave.
autosave is great.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the nice things about WordPress's editor. When WordPress, I was skeptical of WordPress's new editor for a long time, but now they've like.
Oh man, you should have seen Jess screaming at WordPress's editor earlier.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was pretty
What's
good.
your least favorite thing about it?
Well, at the moment, if I highlight text and push backspace, it deletes the whole block, not the text that I have highlighted.
That is pretty annoying.
Yeah, no, that's just a bug. That's beyond annoying. It's a fucking bug, and it's anyway.
So one thing that you cannot do in WordPress blog posts is provide HTML or even XML examples. Because
Oh,
that's bad.
it will try to parse it. It won't get what it wants, and it will just delete the whole thing.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. So you have to put it in like a GitHub gist and
right.
embed
Wow.
Or
and it
a
understands how to embed a GitHub gist, but it does not understand.
what's the other thing? The thing it's not glitch. It's not GitHub. It's
Fiddle?
Fiddle. No, wait.
Like Jay's fiddle?
Maybe.
Anyway, can we test this again?
Yep.
What's it do now?
Let's find out.
Are we
have this
running?
Running and ready.
Are
Did
we
I run
running?
them?
I don't think you ran them.
I don't think I ran them either.
Press the bug.
Bug.
Press the other bug.
Bug. Beautiful. Okay, here we go. So we were over here. Stop.
Do you actually have to stop that? Because
I don't actually think I do. It's
new
just like
connections every
superstitious at
time.
this point.
It's very robust.
Oh my goodness. All right, we got a connection. Things are happening.
Oh,
Oh
damn
my
it.
gosh.
It's a persistent bug, that's for sure.
Okay,
And we
that's
gotta
fine.
know
All we
at
did
any
was
point
remove
if
a
you're
wild
like tired
tool,
or have better things to do. I totally
which
get it.
might give us fewer exceptions. Okay, is me the leader?
Yeah, me's the leader.
Okay.
So why would the entire interaction happen appropriately? Followed
More
by
info
another connection
mine.
and
Garbage
then an
collection?
exception.
Garbage collection. That's my theory.
The other side closest to connection. So the interaction happened and we kept going. Because well, this isn't weird. I would totally expect this actually, because we keep doing receive message forever
Yes, we do.
until we get an exception. So of course we're going to get an exception. Can we, in receive message, can we interpret some messages as we're done here? And like
I would
exit
like
the
to do
while
that.
loop?
How do we do that? Because we do. So right here, let me show you.
Not in receive message. It would be in the interpret message one.
Yeah, and parsing. So here, these are all things where I would like the server to just.
Right.
Okay.
So you know how we can that's the place where we were getting the exception. Response is not set. Broadcasting response. Oh wait, now we're setting
Response is now set up here.
Right, to empty.
Yeah.
So while I don't think this is the best, we could interpret empty response as stop listening.
Okay.
That's not the best. I would rather like explicitly pass stop listening. But for now, to answer the question of does it work?
Now we could also interpret these responses as stop listening, because those are the cases where we set our response back to empty string.
Actually, when we do send pending, Do we pass that back? No.
No.
We don't. We just do something with the response if we have something pending. Okay, so for now, in that one thing with the while true that we were just looking at, what was that called?
The thing where we didn't end up needing both while trues.
Yeah, this. If we get an empty I mean, we shouldn't while true. We should be like loop, keep going, true equals true, while keep going, and then if we get an empty response back, we can say keep going is false, and then we won't have to get an exception.
I see what you're saying. So we would do something like,
Okay.
We can name that something else.
Sure.
Let's do this. I have to manually back it up because if I try to do it with the auto formatter, it messes up all of the F strings.
Oh, that's terrible. There we go. So if we get a response of empty, else if operation. Oh, you have a break in there. Okay, so we could also break instead of changing listen. Yeah, if response is empty, just break, whatever.
You don't have any issues with
yeah.
With
and then we don't have to worry about the
side.
listen thing.
You don't have any issues with the receive size of 0, do you?
It would have to send 0 in order to have a receive size of 0.
Just like empty string.
Yeah, it could be. But this way it won't send empty string.
All right.
It'll stop and it won't send empty string, and that could be good.
Okay.
Because, okay, so I see what you mean. That makes sense, yeah.
Like on the receive side, I need to look at that code again. My brain is just about over at this point, by the way.
Okie dokie. Well, we could try this one thing and see. All right, so shut this down, right?
Yeah. Oh, there's the skull.
And when you shut it down, and when you see the skull, whenever you see the skull, click the skull.
Skulls are for bonking in our IDE. So it definitely reloads the code when I shut these down and restart them, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it really is just running the process.
Okay, good. So that would be some garbage if it weren't.
Yeah. VS Code has like both options.
Okay. Well, we got closing socket.
Well, that's something.
Let's see what we got here. Oh, it's still.
Yeah, because on the finally, it should close it on the finally, so that's good. Now what did we get? The other side closed this connection. That's so fun.
Oh, this is probably my fault.
Alliance. What the heck? Oh, you probably just typed.
Yeah, that. I borked the whole.
That's fine.
I can't even type anymore.
Yeah, that's fine. It shouldn't care, does it? Does it care about that?
Before we do this, let's just make it clear to everyone involved. Okay, sweet. Oh, more exceptions.
Okay, the other side closed this connection. All right, other side, what did you do? So now they're just angry at each other for closing the connection?
So they're slamming the door in each other's faces. I hung up on you. No, I hung up on you.
And that's in message pass? No, it's in receive size.
Yeah, it's in receive size still.
So they keep receiving messages until they expect not to. But when they, but wait.
Add more logging.
Add
logging of exactly what they received
in
every case.
Yeah. And where by logging we mean console.out. Don't write it to the journal.
Right.
And what thread was this? And what was it connected to? And everything you could possibly log. That's my...
Sounds good to me. Let's see. We're guys. This is where it's happening. So.
Because yeah, we expect exactly one, and then we send something, and then we listen again. But when we listen again, even when it sent something like we sent log length and it sent 3, okay, but it didn't send 3 on the connection we're listening on about log length. So we're getting connections closed, and also the stuff is happening, but it didn't send 3 on the same connection, right? Because we're just like sending and then shutting down. So when we receive 3, we do something in response, but that's something in response I think involves opening another connection. And then we listen again on the connection we got 3 on, but why would it send something on that? Because we sent something on a new connection and it responded on a new connection.
Yeah, I can see issues there. Yep, okay, my brain's over.
Yeah.
All right. No, that makes sense. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, because the while true makes sense when you're talking with the client because you're actually keeping the same connection open with the client. But when you're talking to a peer, you're not. Now, I actually think you should retain that connection and loop around on it. But I suspect that we're always gonna listen until we get an exception, because we listen until we get an exception. We removed some case of that. We said, okay, we're not gonna expect another connection after we receive. Thanks, I'm good. But we still, if we receive log length, we listen again. I think. More beer.
More beer.
Almost up the beer.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a thing that I know things about, but I really am I think I really am brain over.
Tired. Yeah, it's 11. But we definitely did something useful.
I think so too. I think we made some progress.
It's pretty, I want to say it's really...
It's not your algorithm. It's not the Raft algorithm. It's just the socket chatting.
Well, yeah, but I also want to say that it's...
I could be wrong. There could be more after that.
Getting your mind, getting up on both Unix socket, well, not Unix socket, but yeah, like IP socket programming and Raft at the same time is a huge load. That's a lot.
Right. So yeah, we've got to get like the sockety chit chat stuff separated.
And all that's to say, like, this is...
You're doing a lot more than implementing Raft.
Yeah, you're doing a shit ton of... you're trying to absorb several layers of context at once, and so like the amount that you've gotten working is pretty amazing.
Well, thank you.
Also, I can barely hear you now.
Yeah.
Hello?
There we
there
go.
it is. Now you're back.
The mic was floating off into space there. There's a couple of wonderful books that I can recommend to you, but it's like probably out of scope for what you want to learn right now.
That's okay. What are their names?
Wonderful books about TCP/IP.
Yep. Oh, what are their names? Oh, now I have to actually think of their names. Okay. Let's see.
I have my Post-it here of stuff to look up. Somehow every time I talk to Avdi, I end up with a Post-it of stuff to look up.
Okay, so the big one, okay, the first one for theory is TCP/IP illustrated.
Are there
by
good illustrations?
What?
Are there good illustrations?
Yeah, they don't completely suck. I mean, back in these days, illustrated was a low bar.
You're really selling this title.
You only need volume 1.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So it's volumes 1 through 3. 1 is the protocols, 2 is the implementations, and 3 is for weird shit. It's like HTTP, NNTP, and Unix domain protocols. Yeah, the main one is volume 1. And then that is the standard text on understanding TCP/IP.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, no, wait. Is it Unix? No, hang on. The hell is it? Is it Unix network programming? No. Hang on. I'm letting suggested books jog my very fuzzy memory. Advanced programming in the Unix environment. No. That's like Unix APIs. That's not network. Damn it. What is that other set of books?
If you don't remember it now and you happen to remember it later, that's totally fine too.
Yeah.
Is it Unix network programming?
It's totally fine.
No, there's a series that's not by W. Richard Stevens. Damn it. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe Unix. Yeah, Unix network programming. Also, W. Richard Stevens has the sockets networking API. That's a classic.
What did you say it's called?
Unix network programming, volume 1.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Are these authors still alive and everything?
I think W. Richard Stevens is dead by now.
Okay.
I'm
So
not
I could
sure.
say whatever I want about his book in a blog.
Yes. Yeah, TCP/IP illustrated and Unix network programming, both volumes 1.
Okay. I'll do that.
Those are the biggies.
Okay.
I guess somebody, like, I don't know, you and I or something, need to write like modern guides to these things.
I'm in. When are we doing it? Next Sunday?
You're gonna call it TCP/IP.
Yeah,
Oh my
UG TCP/IP. Yeah, so the context there is I'm planning a series of books that are all just called like UG, comma, and the topic.
I
So
love
like
it.
UG JavaScript and UG Ruby.
That for what you need to know but don't really want to.
Right. It's like, okay, you got thrown into a project, and now you need to know, like, you are a programmer, and now you need to know how to use these stupid things.
Yeah.
And you don't want someone blowing sunshine up your ass about how wonderful they are.
That's fair. I have to say, one thing I really appreciate about Dave's courses is that, like, I took his SICP course, and he was like, I'm going to be honest with you, there's some things that this book just doesn't explain particularly well. He pointed out what they were. I was like, thank goodness. It's not just because I don't understand anything about code.
That's a super familiar name, Dave Beasley.
He wrote a number of Python books.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
So that could potentially be why. He keynotes some various conferences. He's known for, in particular, his live coding at conferences. So he'll do demos.
Nice.
But he's worked on here. I can even pull it up. I know it's hard for you to tell why I move everything around. It usually has to do with Zoom things.
This is fine.
Yeah, this is the one. Python Essential Reference, Python Cookbook being the big ones.
I think I have some of those. Come to Chicago and shatter your brain into bits. Nice.
Yeah, and people do. We had somebody in class from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
We had somebody in class from Seattle, I think. So
Nice.
people come.
Hey.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. So I'll look these up. These books. TCP/IP Illustrated and Unix Network Programming.
Yep.
Rock on.
Volumes 1.
Volumes 1 for both of them. Why do they have multiple volumes? I feel like that's an odd.
It's such a fucking big topic. I cannot even.
I have so much. Do I have to when you say that about volume 1?
Oh my goodness.
Like, and I'm like restraining myself. So I was looking through the recommended, like, you know, based on this book, recommended these others, and I'm restraining myself from recommending some others. That's like, oh yeah, that one's really good too.
Why are you restraining yourself?
Because there's just,
you can't read everything.
You can't read everything. I mean, like, advanced programming in the Unix environment is wonderful.
I would love to have read that.
The Linux programming interface,
I'm not going to read
is
it, though.
the best 5-inch thick book I've ever owned.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
That's,
how many 5-inch thick books have you read? Is this like being the best restaurant to have locations in Chicago, San Diego, Indianapolis, Orlando, Boca Raton, and Miami?
I didn't say I've read it.
Yes, it is.
But like the few times I've needed to look something up in it, the Linux programming environment was like, oh my god, thank you so much for like documenting this so much better than the man pages.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great, but it's like,
I mean, I do need some books to put on the bottom bookshelf because my cheap IKEA bookshelf gets unstable otherwise.
oh, they would be the perfect book for that.
Yeah, I mean, SICP is down there, and the Chicago Manual of Style is helping.
Oh, it would dwarf the others.
Also, yeah, concept techniques.
Oh, yeah, you got CTM there. Or,
yeah,
wait, no,
I haven't actually read it. I probably
CTM.
Yeah,
it's CTM. Yeah, Van Roy.
I mean, I do think there's something to be said for keeping books around as references that you haven't necessarily read.
And ballast.
And ballast. Exactly. Now, to be fair, I mean, I also have a copy of Wolfram's book around here somewhere, and that's in the attic. It's not, it didn't qualify as sufficiently attractive ballast compared to CTM and SICP and TAPL.
Yeah. I would love to have read CTM.
Well, me too.
Without having to undergo the investment of reading it.
Right.
I mean, I would enjoy the investment too. I just have other things.
We do have other things.
I mean, it looks like fun.
Content, yes. I would like to learn the concepts, techniques, and methods of computer programming. Models.
Yeah, it's a textbook, whatever. It's a textbook. Ooh, it smells so good. I love textbook smell. Smell.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's like new textbook smell.
Well,
you haven't opened that one much.
It's
no, I haven't. Oh, look how pretty.
Oh, there was like a screenshot of a really old
GUI
GUI in there. That's
word
Solaris.
Frequency count. It's word count too.
That's Solaris. Or like, yeah.
So beautiful. Look at that font. It's so old. I love it. Courier.
Yum.
When I was in school, they always made us write our papers in 11-point Courier New. That was what we had to do. I don't know why that was chosen. Didn't improve the quality of the writing, if I recall correctly.
When I was in high school, computers were very optional. In college, at least everyone had access to the computer lab.
Mm,
But yeah, in high school, not everybody typed their papers.
right. Word star.
I had WordPerfect.
Oh, word perfect. Oh, yo, you had it all posh.
Yeah, we had a little thingy that we put above the function keys to remind us what they were hotkeys for.
Oh my gosh.
And that was because we were high tech, because we had my grandparents' business in the house, so we had computers
Oh yeah.
with floppy disks of various sizes. Anyway, I'm the oldest.
That's fantastic.
In summary, we are old.
Oh man.
Are you knitting or crocheting?
I am crocheting. So I have these mittens that belong to my friend, and she really, really likes them here. But they were really, really messed up. So she, like this part here, I had to basically the index finger loop on each. So it's like a fingerless glove with a mitten top.
Oh, I like
cool.
those, yeah.
And so all of this is the pinky finger,
They're
the ring
knitted.
finger, the middle finger.
Yeah.
And then the index finger was all messed up. So I had to crochet a ring onto the top of it.
Okay.
And then, so it also has, this is the thumb and has like a little thumb hat that you're supposed to be able to put on.
Oh, thumb hats.
Yeah.
I haven't
So-
seen those. My fingerless gloves either have a thumb or a naked thumb.
Right?
I don't
They're
have one
awesome.
now. Yeah.
The thing is, hers were so beat up that the thumb was just like a scrap of knit yarn hanging off of it. So I'm in the process of attempting to fix it, and I crocheted this other piece onto the thumb hat to make it a thumb hat again.
Wow. So you really like regenerated the thumb hat. Totally.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's a little bit of a weird project because I don't have the original yarn colors, and so I'm just kind of matching with the best that I have.
Nice.
Right.
So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is these mittens are knit, which I don't knit, I crochet.
Right.
And so I'm sort of like,
Mm.
that's
That's
the second weird thing. There's actually a third weird thing, which is that my crochet needles are too large for the tightness of this weave.
Oh.
And so instead I'm crocheting with this pair of eyebrow tweezers. So, which I didn't know you could do this until I did it.
Tweezers are awesome.
Yeah. And so I have now knit, I fixed the other one already, and you can kind of see, I did this one with my crochet needle, and you can just see that the like weave is it's not the same tightness.
Chunky.
You know, it's
Still
like
gonna work.
kind of kludgy. I'm not too worried about it because like these things were at the end of their rope.
Right. You can't ruin them.
Right.
They're already dead.
So, but I do think that the size of everything is a little closer to the original when I use tweezers.
Cool.
But,
Fantastic.
yeah, I didn't know what I was going to do. I was like, am I really going to have to go on Amazon and get a little teeny crochet needle to fix these dilapidated gloves?
Dilapidated.
But then, no, tweezers, it turns out.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah. So necessity is the mother of invention in this case, I suppose. Now they're almost done, which I'm pretty excited about.
Good job.
Thanks. Oh, man. I don't know.
I think it's about bedtime for us.
Okie dokie. Well, this was super fun. Thank you so much for
Thank you for inviting us along.
hopping on.
Real code.
Yeah. Well, on y'all's live streams, you're typically doing real code as well, I would say.
Some days.
Yeah, a lot of times we're just fucking around with Docker and stuff.
Yeah, lately. Oh, I didn't edit that video. Hopefully I'll get to edit that video tomorrow.
All right, cool.
You'll have
But
another
yeah.
one coming out.
Well, so she made a Docker Ruby Tapas episode, which is going to be on the schedule soon, and then there's she just made another one.
Yay.
But we haven't finished editing that one yet.
Nice. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh,
It was great to meet you.
yeah, it was great to meet you too.
Wait, have you not like talked?
I don't know.
Not a lot.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw Jess was at Windy City Rails in 2014 when I did a blog post about her talk.
That was such a great blog post. That blog post was so much better than like
I'm glad you liked it.
written up that talk. Yeah.
It was a very inspiring talk to me. So
Yay. I worked hard on that talk. It was a good talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the one with the John Hughes crown.
The what now?
You were like, wow, you made the crown look just right. And I was like, that was accidental.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah. That was TDD is dead. Long live TDD.
I remember you in a crown.
Yeah. And like in the video, I'm standing in front of it and puts the crown on me. And you were like, wow, that was really good. And I'm like, that was not me. That was just accidental.
all the best things are, though.
Yeah.
All the best things are accidents.
Mm.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I'll let y'all get to bed.
All right.
Good
Thank you for inviting
night.
us along.
Absolutely. Anytime. Let me know if you want to do this again sometime. I'm sure I'll have more irreparable problems that I can't figure out. Or if
And
y'all
if
have
nothing
problems
else,
I can't figure out, I don't know how much I'll be able to contribute, but I can certainly try.
and if nothing else, I will see you in January.
That's right.
Cool. All right. Good night.
Good night.